A wrong number usually ends with an awkward apology. For Rebecca John, it ended with a war. Trapped in a locked supply closet with broken ribs, hiding from a violent detective who swore to make her disappear, she tried to text her brother for help. Her hands were shaking too hard. She mistyped one digit. That message didn't go to her brother in Atlanta. It went to the encrypted phone of Baek Sung-ho, Miami's most elusive and ruthless Korean crime lord. A number that hadn't received a text in 4 years. What happens when a desperate black waitress accidentally summons a dragon from the shadows? The answer is bloody, heartbreaking, and beautiful. This is the story of He Broke My Ribs. The sound of a human rib snapping is distinct. It isn't a clean crack like a dry twig. It is a wet, muffled pop that echoes through bone and flesh, vibrating through the entire torso. Rebecca John heard that sound before she felt the pain. Then the air left her lungs in a violent rush, replaced by white-hot agony that radiated from her left side. She crumpled to the tile floor of the diner's back hall, gasping, her vision swimming with black spots. "Look what you made me do," Brooks said. His voice was calm. That was the worst part about Brooks David. He didn't yell. He didn't scream like the abusers on TV. He was a detective with the Miami PD, a man who knew exactly how to inflict pain without leaving visible marks. Usually. Tonight he had lost control. Rebecca clutched her side as Sung-ho carried her through the demolished back door. The humid Miami air hit her face. The black SUV idled at the curb, engine purring in the 3 a.m. darkness. "I don't even know your name," she gasped. "Baek Sung-ho." He adjusted his grip, careful of her ribs. "And you're Rebecca John." The dragon tattoo on his neck seemed to move in the streetlight. "You're not my brother." "No, I'm not." Headlights cut through the darkness. A Miami PD squad car turned the corner, moving fast. Sung-ho tensed. He barked something in Korean to his men. They moved like shadows, flanking the vehicle as it screeched to a stop. 2 officers emerged, Brooks's friends. Rebecca recognized them from her wedding. "Step away from her," one shouted, hand on his weapon. "That's a police officer's wife." Sung-ho's voice was ice. "That's a man's punching bag. There's a difference." The officers advanced. Sung-ho's crew moved faster. It was over in seconds, brutal, efficient, professional. No shots fired, just wet sounds of impact and 2 bodies hitting pavement. Sung-ho placed Rebecca in the SUV with surprising gentleness. He slid in beside her, and they were moving before he closed the door. "Why would you come for a wrong number?" she whispered. Sung-ho pulled out his phone, showing her the message thread. Her desperate text. His response. Then he scrolled up. Years of empty screen. "This phone belonged to my brother," he said quietly. "He died 4 years ago. Atlanta area code. Same as your James." Rebecca's blood ran cold. "I mistyped one number." "One number," Sung-ho agreed. He looked at her with eyes that had seen too much. He initially spoke in Korean, then he switched to English. "He broke more than your ribs?" "Rebecca John, he broke the wrong woman." The SUV disappeared into Miami's neon-soaked night, leaving unconscious cops and a shattered door behind. Brooks David had no idea what he'd started. The Art Deco building rose from Little Havana like a fortress painted in pastels. Security cameras tracked the SUV through 3 checkpoints before they reached the underground garage. Rebecca's breathing had become shallow. Each inhale felt like broken glass. Sung-ho noticed. "How bad?" "Lung might be punctured." He was already calling. A woman appeared on screen. Sharp cheekbones, Sung-ho's eyes, his sister speaking rapid Korean. "She's a doctor in Seoul." He angled the camera toward Rebecca. "Tell her where it hurts." The sister's instructions came in English, precise and clinical. Sung-ho's hands followed her guidance, checking for damage, listening to breath sounds with surprising gentleness. His crew gathered. Rebecca noticed their faces, Korean, Cuban, Haitian. Miami's underground, united. A Cuban man with silver in his beard brought ice wrapped in cloth. "Employee of the month," Rebecca said, pain making her delirious. That's when it started. "Brooks saw my picture on the wall, said I was getting too visible." Sung-ho's jaw tightened. "You texted the ghost of Little Seoul. I run what the cartels don't touch." He met her eyes. "But you're not invisible anymore." "Why do you care?" he said quietly. "Loyalty, righteousness. My brother taught me, when someone calls for help, you answer." Rebecca studied his face. Brooks had called his control protection. This man asked nothing in return. In the South, we call that doing right by people. Sung-ho almost smiled. Same thing. Different language. Across Miami, Brooks stood in Rebecca's empty apartment, phone pressed to his ear. She had help. Professional help. His voice was ice. I need your people, all of them. Dmitry Volkov lit a cigar on the other end. The Korean's been a problem anyway. Consider it handled. Dr. Kim arrived at dawn, a Korean-American woman with steady hands and no questions. She taped Rebecca's ribs, administered pain medication, and declared the lung bruised but intact. You're lucky, she said. Another inch and you'd be on a ventilator. Rebecca didn't feel lucky. I feel safer with a gangster than a cop, she whispered. What does that say about the world? Sung-ho heard from the doorway. He set down a tray, soft tofu soup, rice, banchan, the kind of meal meant for healing. They ate in silence. Then Rebecca spoke. Brooks took my bank card the day after we married. Said he'd handle the money, then my phone password, then my keys. She stared at her soup. I haven't spoken to my family in Atlanta in 8 months. Sung-ho's chopsticks stilled. Isolation is the first weapon. You sound like you know. I came here at 15, alone. My brother followed a year later. We had nothing. No English, no papers, no protection. He met her eyes. So we built our own. By 30, I controlled 3 neighborhoods, and my brother was dead. What happened? He called for help. Drug deal gone wrong. I was in a meeting. Saw the message too late. Sung-ho's voice was flat. So when your text came through on his old phone, same Atlanta area code, I don't make that mistake twice. Rebecca reached across the table, her hand covering his. No words, just recognition. The moment shattered when crew burst in. Boss, someone's in our cameras. Cycling through feeds, mapping the building. Sung-ho was on his feet. How long? 15 minutes. Military-grade encryption bypass. Rebecca's blood went cold. She knew exactly who had that access. Brooks had found them. Dr. Kim arrived at dawn, a Korean-American woman with steady hands and no questions. She taped Rebecca's ribs, administered pain medication, and declared the lung bruised but intact. You're lucky, she said. Another inch and you'd be on a ventilator. Rebecca didn't feel lucky. I feel safer with a gangster than a cop, she whispered. What does that say about the world? Sung-ho heard from the doorway. He set down a tray, soft tofu soup, rice, banchan, the kind of meal meant for healing. They ate in silence. Then Rebecca spoke. Brooks took my bank card the day after we married, said he'd handle the money, then my phone password, then my keys. She stared at her soup. I haven't spoken to my family in Atlanta in 8 months. Sung-ho's chopsticks stilled. Isolation is the first weapon. You sound like you know. I came here at 15, alone. My brother followed a year later. We had nothing. No English, no papers, no protection. He met her eyes. So we built our own. By 30, I controlled 3 neighborhoods, and my brother was dead. What happened? He called for help. Drug deal gone wrong. I was in a meeting. Saw the message too late. Sung-ho's voice was flat. So when your text came through on his old phone, same Atlanta area code, I don't make that mistake twice. Rebecca reached across the table, her hand covering his. No words, just recognition. The moment shattered when crew burst in. Boss, someone's in our cameras, cycling through feeds, mapping the building. Sung-ho was on his feet. How long? 15 minutes. Military-grade encryption bypass. Rebecca's blood went cold. She knew exactly who had that access. Brooks had found them. Dmitry Volkov met Brooks in a warehouse off the port. The Russian's smile didn't reach his eyes. Your wife has expensive taste in protection. She's not my wife anymore, Brooks said. She's a loose end. And Baek Sung-ho is our competition. Kill 2 birds, yes? Dmitry lit a cigar. We hit tomorrow night. I bring 20 men. You bring your badge. Keep real cops away. Brooks's jaw clenched. The thought of Rebecca with that Korean bastard made his vision red. I want her alive. At the safe house, Sung-ho's crew prepared for war. Weapons checked, exits secured, ammunition counted. Rebecca watched from the window. You should send me away. No. Sung-ho didn't look up from the tactical map. I'll slow you down. I said no. He met her eyes. You want to run? I'll give you money, papers, a car. But you don't get to make that choice because you think you're a burden. Rebecca's hands curled into fists. Then I stay. And I help. Respect flickered in Sung-ho's expression. He pulled up a video call to Seoul. His sister appeared. Teach her. For 2 hours, Rebecca learned pressure points, how to break holds, where to strike. Her ribs screamed, but she didn't stop. Between drills, Sung-ho taught her Korean words. Help me, danger, and let's go. She repeated them until they felt natural. That night, they ate ramyeon in the kitchen. Simple, quiet. Sung-ho's hand lingered near hers on the table. Why does this feel like a last meal? Because it might be. The lights cut out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red. A voice crackled through the radio. Boss, perimeter breach, multiple vehicles, Russian plates. Sung-ho's eyes met Rebecca's. They're here. Outside, Brooks David stepped from an unmarked police car, flanked by Dimitri's men. The hunt had become a siege. The first explosion tore through the east wall. Sung-ho's crew returned fire, controlled bursts, tactical positions, years of training and muscle memory. Safe room, now. Sung-ho pushed Rebecca toward the reinforced door. I can help. You help by staying alive. His eyes were cold, lethal. Go. Rebecca ran. The safe room had monitors showing every angle. She watched Sung-ho move through the building like smoke. 2 shots, 1 attacker down. Turn. 3 shots, 2 more bodies. His crew fought with precision, but they were outnumbered. Then she saw Brooks, slipping through a side entrance while the main assault kept Sung-ho occupied. Alone, coming for her. Rebecca grabbed the knife Sung-ho had left her. The safe room door wasn't locked. He'd given her a choice. Run or hide. She chose neither. Brooks found her in the hallway. His smile was vicious. There's my girl. Thought you could whore yourself out to some Korean gangster and I'd just let you go? I'm not your girl. I never was. Brooks lunged. Rebecca moved like she'd been taught. Pivot, strike the throat, use his momentum. The knife slashed his arm. He roared, backhanding her into the wall. Her ribs screamed. You ungrateful bitch. I gave you everything and you spread your legs for that. Rebecca drove her knee into his groin. His name is Sung-ho, and he sees me as a person. You only saw property. Brooks grabbed her throat, slamming her against the wall. I should have killed you in that diner. A voice cut through the chaos. Cold, lethal, Korean accent sharp as a blade. Get your hands off her. Brooks turned. Sung-ho stood at the hall's end, gun raised, eyes burning with something beyond rage. The shot echoed like thunder. Brooks moved. Not toward Sung-ho, toward Rebecca. His hand went to his weapon. Sung-ho fired first, but Brooks wasn't his target. The Russian behind Rebecca dropped, rifle clattering. In that split second, Brooks fired back. The bullet caught Sung-ho in the side, spinning him against the wall. No, Rebecca screamed. Brooks ran. Sirens wailed, his correct backup providing escape. He disappeared into the smoke as Dimitri's men retreated. Rebecca reached Sung-ho as he slid down the wall, hand pressed to his side. Blood poured between his fingers. We need to move, one of his crew shouted. Building's compromised. Sung-ho tried to stand. His legs gave out. Rebecca caught him, bearing his weight through sheer will. I've got you. Kaja, remember? Let's go. They made it to the SUV through gunfire. Rebecca kept pressure on the wound, her hands slick with blood. Sung-ho's skin was gray, breathing shallow. Biscayne Bay, the driver said. Backup location. The crew was panicking. Their boss was dying, and they had no plan. Rebecca found her voice. Medical supplies? First aid kit. Not enough. I need clean water, towels, anything to stop bleeding. How long? 5 minutes. Drive faster. At the dock, they carried Sung-ho onto a cigarette boat. His eyes fluttered, unfocused. Rebecca tore open his shirt, assessing the wound. Entry, no exit. The bullet was still inside. Then he whispered, Sister, calling for someone who wasn't there. I'm here, Rebecca said, applying pressure. Stay with me, Sung-ho. You came for me. Now I've got you. His pulse was weak under her fingers, weakening. I'm losing him, she whispered. The boat engine roared, racing into the dark waters of Biscayne Bay. The warehouse smelled of rust and salt water. They laid Sung-ho on a cleared table under flickering lights. His breathing was ragged, pulse thready. Rebecca's hands didn't shake. I need boiling water, clean cloth, alcohol, the strongest you have, knife, lighter, fishing line. Her voice carried authority she didn't know she possessed. Move. The crew scattered. Carlos stayed. You know what you're doing? I work trauma rotation, Community Hospital, Atlanta. Rebecca cut away Sung-ho's shirt. I'm all he's got. She poured alcohol over her hands. The sting was nothing compared to Brooks's fists breaking her fingers against the kitchen counter. Those same hands now held a sterilized knife. Look what you made me do, Brooks's voice echoed. Rebecca pushed it away. Hold him steady. The bullet was lodged near the kidney. She worked by feel, fingers probing, finding metal, extracting. Sung-ho's body convulsed. Blood welled up, dark and hot. Lord, guide my hands, she whispered in her grandmother's cadence, like you guided her hands through every hurt thing she healed. Around her, the crew murmured prayers in Korean, Spanish, Haitian Creole, a chorus of hope in darkness. 2 hours. Irrigation, cauterization, stitching torn tissue with fishing line and determination. The final stitch pulled tight. Sung-ho's breathing steadied. His color returned, shade by shade. He's stable, Rebecca announced. The crew exhaled. Carlos gripped her shoulder. You saved him. Rebecca looked at her hands, steady, competent, powerful. The hands Brooks had tried to break. I saved myself. She pulled up a chair beside Sung-ho and took his hand. His fingers twitched, responding even unconscious. I'm not leaving, she told the darkness. Not until you wake up. Dawn crept through the windows, painting everything gold. Rebecca John kept watch. Sung-ho woke to the smell of rice and ginger. His side screamed with every breath, but he was alive. Rebecca slept in the chair beside him, head tilted at an uncomfortable angle, one hand still loosely holding his. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. Rebecca, he whispered. Her eyes opened immediately. Instant alertness. You're awake. She checked his pulse, his temperature, touch clinical but gentle. How's the pain? Manageable. He tried to sit up, failed. Don't. She helped him adjust, then brought over a bowl. Your sister sent me a recipe. Juck said you'd need something easy to digest. The porridge was perfect, soft, warm, tasting like childhood. You made this? Video call at 3 a.m. She's very particular. Rebecca smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. What happened to Brooks? Gone. His cop friends got him out. Dimitri's men scattered. She set down the bowl. They'll regroup. Come back. Sung-ho studied her face, the set of her jaw, the steel in her eyes. This wasn't the broken woman from the diner. You saved my life. Now save yourself. Take the money, the papers. This isn't your war. It became my war when he first hit me. Her voice was quiet but absolute. I just didn't have an army until you. You deserve better than this, than me, maybe. She met his eyes. But I'm choosing it anyway. Partnership, not rescue. That's what this is. Sung-ho reached for her hand. You know what comes next. This ends in blood. I know. Rebecca stood, walking to the window. Miami's skyline glittered in the distance, neon impossibility. Let them come. All of them. I'm done being invisible. I'm done being afraid. She turned back, backlit by the city lights. I'm ready to break some ribs of my own. Rebecca stood at the window, Miami sprawling beneath her like a battlefield waiting to be claimed. Sunrise painted the city in gold and blood. I spent years being invisible, she said. To customers who looked through me, to cops who didn't believe me, to everyone. She turned to Sung-ho. But I see myself now. He watched her, his eyes reflecting something like reverence. I'm not the victim anymore. I'm not the waitress he could throw away. Her hands curled into fists. I'm the woman who survived, who saved a crime lord's life with fishing line and prayer, who chose war over hiding. Sung-ho's lips curved into a genuine smile. Not the cold mask. Real. Let Brooks come with his badge and his hate, Rebecca continued. Let the syndicate come with their guns. We'll break their ribs. We'll break their systems. We'll break everything they built on people like us. People like us, Sung-ho repeated softly. He stood, wincing, and crossed to her. An invisible black waitress and a displaced Korean gangster. Sounds like a joke. Rebecca's smile was sharp, except we're the punchline they never saw coming. They planned through the day. Carlos brought maps of Miami's underworld, Sung-ho's contacts from Little Seoul, Rebecca's knowledge of Brooks' routines, the precinct's shifts, the Russian territories, two worlds colliding, fusing. The wrong number ended, Sung-ho said as the sun set, painting them in shadows and light. His crew stood behind them, Korean, Cuban, Haitian, and now her. But the right partnership began. He took her hand, his accent wrapping around the words like a promise. We do it your way. Let's go together. Rebecca squeezed his hand. Together, they turned to face Miami. The war had just begun, and they were ready.